mine. There's a couple of little known facts about him. He only ever wears pink underwear. He's a world famous Bollywood dancer, and he's going to show us some of his dancing. No, that was not true? Well, he's going to show us some of his dancing, hopefully on stage. He showed us a really good amount of it last night at the after party, and so hopefully he'll share some of that with us. He's also a general partner of Zero Labs, which has invested tens of millions of dollars into early stage startups through to some bigger numbers. They work up to checks in the tens of millions, so they work with some really fantastic companies, specifically focusing on AI, and it's a greenfield fund, which means they've got lots of different creative ways to raise more capital when they need it for companies that they think is worth it. So this guy is probably one of the top investors in the world in terms of AI and the future of AI, which is exactly what he's going to be talking to us about. We've heard a lot of talks on AI, and I think hopefully everyone understands how much this is going to impact the world. Hashtag singularity. So let's give him a warm applause and welcome to the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I have to say, it's an incredible experience to come here and see this put together. Jorgen and Sophia, you've done an incredible job, because it isn't just about logistics, it isn't just about putting all of this together. It's about how you bring the energy of people together, because it's not what just happens here, it's what happens from here. And that is an incredible thing that you've done. I want to thank Raiffeisen Bank. I know they put a lot of faith in you to make this happen, and we often don't give enough credit to the sponsors without whom this wouldn't be possible. So thank you very much. Ruslan, wherever you are, thank you for making this happen. So, how many of you have heard the term artificial intelligence? Okay, a good bunch. How many of you think that artificial intelligence, robots powered by artificial intelligence, are going to take over the world and destroy us? Almost everyone has heard of AI. How many of you truly know how artificial intelligence works? Okay, great. So I think to really fathom where AI is going, it's really important to understand its journey, where it came from. So allow me to take you on a little journey. So meet little baby Donald. At birth, what does he know? Knows how to cry, knows how to breathe, definitely knows how to poop. You could argue that these are default functions hard-coded into Donald at birth. In the first wave of AI, experts in different domains literally hard-coded knowledge into machines. So if you think of logistics programs or chess-playing computers, these were good examples of that. As the months go by, Donald learns to drink milk. He starts recognizing your face. He hears you call his name. Oh, isn't Donald a cute little baby? Donald's so cute. And he's probably judging you, but he's starting to observe. He's learning in an unsupervised manner. As the months go by and Donald starts becoming a toddler, it's not just the unsupervised observation. He's also seeing you show him objects. So you show him an apple and you say, Donald, look at this apple. So you've effectively labeled the object. And then you go, Donald, look at this giraffe. Isn't it an amazing animal? So now what you've done is you've also classified the object. And this combination of what we call supervised learning and observation of unsupervised learning represents the second wave of AI, which is commonly known as statistical learning. The sights, sounds, and touch that is fed to Donald's brain is extremely critical in the process of his evolution of learning. So if you think about voice recognition or image recognition, these are good examples of the same concept when it comes to machines. So when you think about how a child puts together different pieces of a puzzle to form a full image is very largely how a computer is going to identify an image or identify parts of an image. But the quality of these inputs that the child gets in the formative years is exceedingly critical to how this brain will evolve, how this child will learn. Because an unfortunate child who grows up in an environment where he or she is not exposed to a lot of great knowledge, a lot of great inputs, will likely grow up to be this Donald. Low information, small vocabulary, and proof that even artificial intelligence is no match for natural stupidity. And it's the same with machines. How many of you have heard of the AI bot created by Microsoft called Tay? Okay, not many. So Tay was this great effort by Microsoft to try and create this AI bot that would sit and respond to people on Twitter. Well, have you ever used Twitter? People are constantly tweeting a whole bunch of vile crap. And it didn't take long before this is what Tay tweeted. That was the end of the project very rapidly. So instead of that Donald, right, what we want is a teenager that grows up like this Donald. Thoughtful, high intelligence, large vocabulary, his ability to impact the lives of humans in the future limitless, his potential endless. With this Donald, if you tell Donald, be careful at this intersection. There are cars coming from the left and from the right. Wait till the light goes green and then cross the road. And maybe even wait 2 seconds, because those damn cyclists, they don't stop for lights. Well, unlike an autonomous car, you don't need to explain to this Donald at every intersection, every scenario that he needs to watch for. The human brain has this incredible ability to adapt and reason. And that is the third wave of AI, the contextual adaptation. And that's where the industry has moved to today. Like with teenage years, puberty can come with some of its darkness. And I'm not referring to this dystopian view of robots taking over the world and trying to kill all of us, or neural nets that are now getting so deep that even the programmers of these neural nets don't know how this AI has reached that decision when it's right, let alone when it's wrong. But one of the things that concerns me a lot more than any of this is, we're all using digital assistants now, your Siris and Alexas and Google Assistant. And all the conversations that we're having with these assistants are being uploaded to the cloud in the control of these big companies and being used to complete tasks that you might ask, but at the same time, probably being used in ways that you might not always appreciate. And we often find ways to come through these challenges of puberty. So for example, what we did at Zero Labs, which is the AI lab that I've run for the last 8 years, is we focused on creating the ability for AI to understand what you're saying, the meaning of what you've said, infer like human beings do, and yet do it entirely on the device, never leaving the device, so that it's AI just for you, private, protecting your privacy. And we call this concept the AI of you. And this is particularly important when you think about the fact that in the next 3-4 years, all of us are going to generate 40 zettabytes of data. Now, I didn't make that term up. A zettabyte is the equivalent of 6,400 trillion notebooks, which if you stack them vertically on top of each other, will actually reach the moon. And there's a 40 zettabyte elephant in the room. If that's lost in translation, this is a negative connotation. Because what we've seen recently is two very powerful, very creative billionaires go at each other on Twitter about how AI is going to completely destroy the world, or not, and then spending time calling each other idiots, which I guess if you're worth $1 billion and you're running the future of the world, then you can do if you want to. But the reality is that it entirely misses the point of the concerns that actually do affect us right now. Look, literally 5 companies today, call it Facebook, Amazon, Google, Baidu, IBM, and a few others, control not just most of the data of the world, but in the AI world, they control actionable intelligence. So it's exceedingly important for us going forward to think about how we can start to distribute this data so that it's not controlled by 1, 2, 5 companies. I spoke about the AI of you. It's a big privacy issue. We're going down this huge slippery slope where if we don't pay attention to this now, at one stage it'll be too late. There's a huge issue of bias in the society we live in today. There's bias against women, there's bias against minorities, there's bias against certain religions, there's certainly bias against certain countries. And this exists in our society today. And the training data that we use to train these neural networks that power this AI of the future, they're learning from the same data. So it's very important for us to think about how we're going to adjust these biases so that we don't create a society in the future that is being driven by AI, that reflects the problems that we have in our society today. And then the one topic that seems to be at the forefront of a lot of conversations around AI, which is, what is it going to do to all our jobs? We spoke about this, if any of you were there on the first day, we spoke about this on the panel. AI is going to take over not just blue-collar jobs, but white-collar jobs, and it's going to do it faster, and it's going to do it more widespread than we could have ever predicted. So, do we take a defensive approach and say, we need to stop this, we need to slow AI down, we need to handcuff AI, we need to make sure certain jobs are never affected? And that's a very fear-based approach. It's a scarcity-based model. And the unfortunate truth is, that's the world that we live in. We live in a scarcity-based world. And I think the time is really right for us to start thinking about abundance-based models. First time in human history where we can continue to advance and grow society and productivity without having to work. So instead of thinking about, oh my gosh, our jobs are at risk because of AI, what if we said, awesome, someone to come and do the work for us, maybe better than we can. What can we release ourselves to do? And there's a Another occasion that we can talk about what that means from an economic model perspective. I can go on forever with that. But to me, these are issues that are far more relevant. And guess what? The investment community is backing this in the way that the other Donald would say, bigly. It's huge. $15.4 billion have been invested in about 2,300 companies. And the part that should excite all of you entrepreneurs, to-be entrepreneurs, students in this audience, is that nearly 70% of this was in early stage startups. So where did this money go? A large amount of the money went to vision, voice, and text. We've all seen the products from that. A lot of money went towards making it easier to buy things, and in America, return them. A ton of money went towards making sense of data, making it easier to understand what all this data means. It went towards making it easier to invest, sending the power of investment to us, the people. Much of the money went towards autonomous transport. And most importantly, a large